We're going to talk numbers today, friend. There are so many numbers floating around there, when it comes to views or likes or follows or website traffic, etc. And, most platforms that we're using give us some type of way to measure the numbers and to track things so that we know whether or not our attempts are being successful, right? So, and if you find yourself, if you're kind of like me, I'm a bit of a numbers fiend. I like to track numbers. I like to see whether or not something is working. And with some of the metrics and numbers and analytics that are floating out there, it can be really easy to find yourself like getting caught up in watching them and kind of chasing after certain types of metrics. But I want you to pause, because today we're going to have a discussion about which metrics actually matter. We're going to look at, what are vanity metrics versus actionable metrics, and how can we create more actionable metrics or find more actionable metrics inside of our businesses so that we know what step to take next. So if you have found yourself chasing after views, chasing after likes, and all of that kind of stuff, then I hope that you're going to enjoy this conversation. I had a really fun time researching it, and I think we're going to have some pretty clear takeaways for you at the end of today's broadcast. So whether you are live or on the replay, please be sure to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and let's get this party started. Y'all don't know this, but as that intro video is playing, I am scrambling behind the scenes and making sure that everything is working. It looks like we might be having some stream quality issues here, so let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. And hopefully, we're live in all of the places and spaces. Good morning to Pete and Laura and Karen. Laura says that it's snowing in Ontario. We are set to get some snow this afternoon here. I'm about an hour north of Pittsburgh, PA, if you didn't know. And it's getting cold here, y'all. So let's, before we get to it all, let me introduce myself if you're new here. My name is Sara Campbell. I am a business strategist, mindset, and marketing coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like yourself. And I go live here every Wednesday where we talk about those topics. And today we're diving into the business side of things, and we're looking at numbers, math, right? As my friend Michelle would say, like, ew, math is gross. And I don't like to math out loud, not without a calculator. But today we are going to be talking a little bit about numbers and looking at how we can figure out which numbers to track, so that we know what we're supposed to be doing in our marketing and in all types of different business strategies. So I've been doing some research lately, and I kind of went down a rabbit hole of looking at, what are vanity metrics, what are actionable metrics, and how can I help my clients and my own businesses, know which metrics to track. Because we live in a space with social media and search engines and websites where we're constantly being fed different types of analytics, and there can be a tendency to chase after numbers in order to see those little spikes happen on the graphs. So let's unpack that today, and we're going to talk about how which metrics are actually important. And I think you're going to be surprised, because at the end of this broadcast, it's not really about math. So I'm just gonna float that out there. I hope you stick around to the end, because I have some really important points that I'd like to make about metrics and what we should be watching for. As always, we love to learn out loud here. So if you hear something that is like an aha moment for you, or you're kind of excited about it, give us a hashtag takeaway in the comments, whether you're live or on the replay. I'd love to know what is valuable to you. If we have anybody watching over on the YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because we put out videos every week, and I want you to get all the good stuff. All right, we do have the Savvy Sara bot set up. So I'm going to be sending you a couple of things today. I'm going to be sending you one of the blog posts that I read because I found it really interesting the way they broke down which types of metrics we can follow, and I think that you're going to find that little bit very, very useful. And also she will send you all of the like recap notes from today, so the main points that we're talking about. So if you drop the word metrics down below, if you are on Facebook or on Instagram, if you drop the word metrics, you will get a message from the Savvy Sara bot, and she will send you all the things from today. If you're watching on YouTube, please look in the live chat or in the description, and you will find a link that you can click where you can get all those things I just mentioned. I love this, Dorla. Dorla's like, I've loved to learn metrics. Yeah, metrics can be really important. They can really help us inform us about which decisions to take. I see Cassandra's waving over there on YouTube. That's great. And Stephanie's turning in from Maryland. Hooray! Thank you, everyone. I see Studio E Grinnell. The word may not work for your page, but I'll make sure to reach out to you so you can get the information here. All right, so let's get to it because I love to chat numbers. I'd like to pose a question for you all before I get into the teaching portion of today. I'd love to know, what are the metrics or the insights that you typically track? What do you track when it comes to like the emails that you send out, or the ads that you put into the High School Musical, or your attrition rates, your retention rates, your social media insights? I'd love to know the numbers that you use right now to inform what you're using. Hey, Sean Q over on Instagram. We're talking numbers. Good times. All right, let's get into the first part of our discussion today, and that is the question, what the heck are vanity metrics? What are vanity metrics? So I'm going to give you a little definition of this, and then we're going to dive into like, how do we know that something's a vanity metric? So basically, a vanity metric is this. It's a number or a stat that looks good on paper or on a cell phone, whatever, and it looks good, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? These metrics, these numbers give the impression of success, but they actually lack any context that tells us what strategies we should use in the future. These numbers are often very easy to track. I'll drop the ones that come to the top of mind immediately. Things like likes, things like views or plays. That kind of stuff on social media, that is what we would call a vanity metric. And I know we all want our posts that we're putting out there to get likes and to get views and to get plays and all of that stuff. But remember, it's not necessarily a measurement that is easily repeatable, because you all know like that you've probably had at least I know there are many, many savvy listeners here who have told me this in the past. Like, you've all had a post that went, quote unquote, viral. And when we're talking about viral, I'm not talking like millions of people. I'm talking like, hey, you got like 500 views, or you got like 1,000 views, or whatever. You had a post that like went really, really well, but then you're like, I have no idea how to repeat this. It was just kind of this anomaly, and it just happened. So that's what we mean by vanity metrics. This can also, yeah, exactly. Pete, he says views and likes. You got it. This could also be like views on a website. These things, they're nice. They can tell us some stuff, but they're not necessarily the numbers that we want to spend time tracking and like energy chasing after. So if the reason that you're putting out content is to make sure that you're getting more views and likes, I have some ideas for you, right? So that's vanity metrics. Show of hands if anyone here has fallen down the rabbit hole of chasing after vanity metrics. You are not alone. I just want to let you know, like, no blame gaming here, right? Vanity metrics are something that they make us feel kind of good. Ha! Exactly. Pete's like, but it feels so good. Exactly. Yes, those vanity metrics, they can make us feel good. Like, I'm not going to lie. When I put a reel out there, I'm definitely checking the insights way too often. And I'm getting concerned if it doesn't start to gain traction and yada, yada, yada. This is one of the reasons that people struggle with content, because vanity metrics, when they're not coming through, they make us feel disappointed. Right? That's natural. We want to feel liked and appreciated, and we want to know that our content is resonating with people. So this is where we want to focus on actionable metrics. So let's define what this means. And then we're going to get I'm going to give you some really clear takeaways that you can use that will hopefully relax what you have to do around numbers and things like that. So actionable metrics are statistics that link to specific tasks that you can optimize. These are the kind of numbers that clearly tie into the goals of your studio, and they give you information about what's working and what isn't. So let's break that down, right? Let's be honest. Sometimes actionable metrics require us to do math, which is kind of gross. But when we do the math and we look at things, or we examine the numbers a little bit further, if we're looking at like social analytics, we will know which numbers are more important. So let me give you very clear examples of actionable metrics that I think every studio should be using. The percentage of inquiries that convert, right? How are these actionable? Let's break it down. So let's say that you have like 10 inquiries a month, but only 2 of those inquiries are converting. So that's giving us some really important information. It's giving us one, it might be telling us that we are attracting the wrong people, or that we're not communicating very clearly who we work with. Right? That could be one of the things. Another thing could be that there's something off in our inquiry process, and we haven't quite figured out how to move people through the process of the interview lesson, of, enrolling in the studio, of enrolling in a course, etc. Right? So there's something wrong with the sales process. By the way, my very good friend and coach and colleague, Michelle Marquardt DeVoe, put together a fabulous resource. It's called The Art of the Inquiry. If you have not purchased this resource, I highly suggest you do it. So, conversion is your struggle. Laura, I think that might be a really good resource for you. If anybody wants to learn how to get a hold of that, just type inquiry down below and I'll send you a link personally. Okay, back to what we were talking about here. So we have the percentage of inquiries that convert. That could be a great actionable metric to track. Another one, what about your retention rates or your attrition rates? How long are people sticking around in your business? Are you having a high churn rate and people are leaving like kind of quickly? So that gives us actionable data. There could be so many different types of actions that could be important to fix numbers like that, right? So if your retention rate, if you're noticing that you have a lot of people who are leaving, it's time to examine, why are they leaving? What are the common threads? Right? And what are the actions that we can take in order to either bring different types of clients in, or what can I do as a teacher and business owner to encourage a higher retention rate? So that is an actionable metric. Another thing, we haven't really talked about, we've just talked about attrition and like inquiries and that kind of stuff. What about social media and websites? What are actionable metrics there? Most of the time we just think about views and likes, right? Well, how about knowing how much time somebody's spending on your website? There are ways to track that. And I know, like, for some of us who are like not very tech savvy, you might want to hire a professional to like give you some information about it, or, ask your 15-year-old nephew or something, because he's probably going to know what a bounce rate means. There's all kinds of things that we can do there. So there's many different types of actionable metrics, and here's the kicker. This is the part that I love. But before I do that, all right, I'd love to know, so far in this discussion, what are some of the metrics that you are aware of? Give me your takeaways on that. And what are some of the metrics that you're like, ooh, you know what? I actually hadn't thought about that. I think I need to start tracking this more. I would love for you to share what those are down below, or if you have questions about anything that I've gone through so far, please feel free to put them in the comments and I will come back. I will answer them either live or I'll come back and give you some details. All right, so let's get to the kicker. Even vanity metrics can become actionable. So let's break it down. So a vanity metric, we can't really repeat it. We don't really know what to do with it. Okay, so I had a post that had like 1,000 views on it, or I had a post that had 50 likes. What the heck? I must have done something right. So vanity metrics can become actionable if we can learn to examine them and set clear and measurable goals. So views and likes are often considered vanity metrics. However, they can inform us as to how frequently visitors are seeing our websites. That's a good thing. That might be informing you as to like how often you're showing up in a search. And it also can inform us what type of content resonates with our audience, right? Hey there, Pam, over on Instagram. Nice to see you. Okay, so how do we know, how can we make a vanity metric measurable, right? So let's talk about the views and likes. Views and likes, they do inform us like, okay, hey, this was a popular topic, but let's take it a step further than that. What should we actually be paying attention to, right? If vanity metrics are something that we shouldn't necessarily chase and actionable metrics are something that we should be aware of, but vanity metrics can turn into actionable metrics, it gets a little bit confusing. So I want you to think about conversions and engagement. Those are the types of metrics that we want to be tracking. And the other ones that I mentioned earlier, thinking about, the percentage of inquiries that convert, what is your attrition rate, what is your retention rate, etc. So here are some questions that I think would be useful for you. I want you to ask yourself, do you know how people find your studio? Do you have something in place that allows you to get that information? Now, if you aren't asking new clients how they're finding you, I encourage you to have that as part of your process, right? Have that in an intake form or have it in, written down somewhere that you can ask that question in an interview with someone, because it's really important information. And I encourage you to ask the questions, why did they start taking lessons with you? You might find out even more information about why that conversion occurred. Those are great actionable metrics because if we understand that data, we can make it repeatable. So that's the kind of stuff that we should be paying attention to. We can stop chasing the views and the likes. Before we continue, the next portion here, we are going to stop looking at insights. And we're going to start looking inward for a bit. Because when it comes to metrics, I think there is danger in chasing after numbers. And we can chase after numbers and get so fixated on achieving, making that graph go up and all that kind of stuff that we start to lose sight of what really matters. So let's talk about that. Which metrics really matter? And here's what I think. I would love to know your opinion on this. Are you able to earn enough income to very comfortably support yourself? That's a good metric. Is your work enjoyable and meaningful? That's a good metric. Does the work that you do with your clients make your clients happy and help bring them great results? That's a good metric to follow. Those are the things that actually matter most. And those are the things that I would love to help you figure out. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you and you'd like to know more about how to start really understanding what metrics you want to track in your life, reach out. Let's have a conversation. So we're going to do our rapid recap here in a moment. If there are any takeaways from today's topic, I love to bring them up on the screen. So I'll give you all a little bit of a moment to put those in there. I see that Elizabeth, Laura, Karen have put the word inquiry down below. Great. I'll make sure to reach out to you to give you information about the art of inquiry. And don't forget that if you want to get a hold of today's notes, go ahead and put the word metrics down below. The Savvy Sara bot will send you information about all of the topics that we discussed today. She'll send you a blog post where you can read a little bit more about how we can take those vanity metrics and start making them actionable. And she is going to send you a way that you can get onto the email list and also get video notifications on Wednesdays. So if you haven't already signed up for that, you can do that. If you've enjoyed today's broadcast, before we do our rapid recap, please take a moment to show me. You already are those who are in the comments here and saying things. It's wonderful. So these are not vanity metrics. These are engagement metrics, right? And they're important. Give me these. Give me these. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Okay? Y'all ready for this rapid recap? Let's do this. Okay. Let me bring this to here. Okay. Here we go. So, little clap for the VA. Let's talk numbers, y'all. Reels, views, likes, follows, all of these things that we're encouraged to chase after. These can be really important, but at the same time, I want you to realize that there are different metrics out there that may be even more important for your business. So if you're a number fiend like me and you find yourself getting caught up and watching the metrics or the insights and all of the places, here are some things for you to consider. Okay. There are two basic types of metrics. The first is called a vanity metric. These are numbers that look good on paper, but they don't necessarily mean anything. These metrics may give us the impression of being successful, but they actually lack any context, and they don't inform our future decisions. So these numbers are often easy to track. It can be things like views or likes, etc. It can be people who land on your website. How many views are you getting on specific pages? These metrics, while they can inform us of some things, they're not necessarily easily repeatable. So this is where it becomes important to look at the second type of metrics, and those are actionable metrics. So these are statistics. These are numbers that we can find that link to specific tasks that you can optimize. So they are clearly tied into the goals of your business, and they give you info around what's working and what's not working. Sometimes, yes, these do require us to do a little bit of math, but here are some things that you should be learning how to track if you aren't doing this already. What percentage of your inquiries are converting? That's really important because it gives you data around, are the right type of people finding me? Where are there holes in my sales process? Those are things that we can take action on. Likewise, be aware of your attrition and retention rates. Are people churning over quickly in your business? There's something to examine there. Do you have really long retention rates? Are people staying with you for a long time? Something to examine there. If we examine those things, we can learn how to repeat the things that are positive and improve the things that are a little bit negative. Likewise, looking at social media and things like that, here's the deal. Vanity metrics, things like likes and views, can actually become actionable if we're clear on what we should be measuring. So if you have something that goes viral, then look at what is the type of content, what is being put out there, what is resonating with people, and is that thing that you put out there going to actually lead to people messaging your page, to people inquiring about your services? That's when vanity metrics can become valuable. So we need to know, how long are people spending on our website? What's that bounce rate like? And are people actually engaging with our content? So what should we be paying attention to? We should be paying attention to conversions. And here are some questions that you can ask yourself. Do you know how people found your studio? If not, ask. Do you know why they signed up for lessons with you and not another studio down the street? If you don't know, ask. Track this information during the inquiry process and the onboarding process. It can be extremely useful. Now, all of that aside, when it comes to metrics, here are the things that I think really matter. Pay close attention here. It's really important. Are you earning enough income so that at the end of the day, you can live comfortably and support yourself and your family? That's an important metric. Is your work valuable and enjoyable and meaningful, and are you happy doing what you're doing? That's an important metric. And when clients are working with you, are they happy and excited and achieving the goals that they want? That's an important metric. Those are the things that matter most. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you'd like to learn more about us, follow us here on Savvy Music Studio, and I will be back next time with more topics about business and marketing and mindset. Thank you all for being here. Until next time, stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing teacher and there's no one in the world quite like you. And I think you're pretty dang awesome. Thanks for being here, everybody. If you want more info, drop the word metrics down below. We'll see you next time.